You're watching IGN Live. Next month, two of the best skateboarding games ever made are clipping their way back to life with some serious visual and gameplay overhauls. Here to tell me more about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, please welcome game director Kurt Tillmanns from Iron Galaxy. Give him a hand.
Thank you for joining us, Kurt.
Thanks for having me. What has it been like picking up the torch from where Tony Hawk 1 and 2 left off?
It's been an incredible honor. Obviously, at Iron Galaxy, we've been given the opportunity to remake two of the best games of all time. And not only that, but tell the story of skate culture over the last 20 years. An incredible honor.
Yeah. What does the game series mean to you personally?
I mean, for me, it just takes me back to being a kid, shredding through Rio or Los Angeles. I'm from Chicago originally, so being able to skate in LA is only something I can do in a video game. Otherwise, honestly, not a good skater regardless, but,
Me either. I would absolutely dump so hard. Secret skaters are also a huge part of this series. We learned today that Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be a playable skater in this game. We also got our first look at Bam Margera in the game. But let's talk about Mikey. How did you work on getting Michelangelo into Tony Hawk?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome working with Nickelodeon on getting Mikey in here. We were super passionate. Everyone who gets an opportunity to be part of a Tony Hawk game is just incredibly gracious and excited to be a part of it. They're wonderful collaborators. We took great pride in building him for the game. He's also got 3 turtle-themed special tricks in the game that you can get when you unlock him, and you can equip those onto any other skater in the game. So that's a ton of fun by itself.
Very cool. Cowabunga is right. And talk about, obviously we're bringing these games into modern day. You're going to change a few things. Can you talk a little bit about adding the 2-minute timer to Tony Hawk 4 and whether that was a difficult or necessary choice?
So our goal from the outset was, again, we're rebuilding 2 of the best games of all time from the ground up. And we wanted this to be one game, right? So it's got the content from 2 awesome games, but it really is one game. So that means that, Tony Hawk 3 is going to get some features and things that Tony Hawk 4 had. And Tony Hawk 4, along with the classic goals that you remember, is going to be able to be played with a 2-minute timer. And that timer can actually be extended up to an hour for people who want to play more at their own pace. We've also got all of the classic game modes returning, so you can skate around in the 4 parks in free skate, single session, or speed run, and continue to do things at your own pace in those modes.
There's nothing worse than having like 1 second left in a run and being just out of reach of that secret tape.
I love that. That's great. I mean, there's nothing about the momentum and the pace of the 2-minute timer for me personally. That's where it is for me.
Right on. Excited to check that out. Can you tell us a little bit more about what online play is going to be like for 3 and 4?
Yeah, I mean, Iron Galaxy, we like to put our stamp on online gameplay, right? That is the heritage of our studio, really. So we are extremely excited to be bringing this game to 7 platforms, right? So we've got both PlayStations, both Xboxes, both Switches, and 3 PC stores. And not only that, we are going to feature crossplay across every single platform. So that's huge. This game is coming to the widest audience, the widest player base that any Tony Hawk game has ever had.
It's such a perfect series to be able to play with anyone, anywhere. You mentioned the Switch 2 version of this game. This is the weekend of Switch 2, right?
Yeah.
And Tony Hawk is so perfectly suited to that mobile experience, too. Can you talk a little bit about making the Switch 2 version of the game? And was it stressful developing for that hardware, which was so secretive?
It's not stressful, I mean, honestly, what's one other platform when you're already
right.
doing 6, right?
Yeah.
So, it's, again, as soon as we knew that we were going to be in the window and it was going to be possible for us to be able to support it, we just jumped at the opportunity.
How do you feel about where performance landed on the Switch 2?
Performance is going to be great. We're going to run at 60 FPS on Switch 2 on every park, so it's going to be amazing performance.
Beautiful. Now, how did the team approach balancing that sort of nostalgia for the Tony Hawk games that we all love with this sort of more modern take on it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things is people remember playing through these, right? The memory and the nostalgia is so strong, shredding through college or Rio or whatever your favorite park is. So we really wanted to make sure that we stayed true to those things, right? Like the collision, the gameplay in those is exactly how you remember it, but the physics has been updated, the gameplay has been updated. We picked up where Vicarious Visions left off with 1 and 2, so it's got those incredibly tight controls, the more modern gameplay stylings, and we've actually added onto that as well. So some features that were not introduced until later into the series, we put into our game. Things like skitching, which was originally introduced in 4.
Skitching is back.
That's back.
Nice.
And not only is that back, but now you can also skitch in the Tony Hawk 3 parks as well. So that's part of that shared feature set.
Yeah, it's one of the best experiences playing these remakes is these sort of quality of life things that got added to the series as it went, and we're kind of just getting all of that back in those classics. That's awesome. Speaking of things that are in the classic games, soundtracks, incredibly important to Tony Hawk games.
Yeah.
How did you go about sort of getting the licensing back for those original songs, but also adding some new stuff into the mix?
I mean, we have a ton of people who are just super passionate about soundtrack. Obviously, when you start making a Tony Hawk game, that's one of the things that people are most excited about. We take it very seriously. Tony Hawk himself has a lot of opinions about the soundtrack, and he probably knows more about the music that skaters are listening to than anyone else in the world. So we obviously hold his opinion in high esteem, but there are a lot of people involved in bringing this to the players.
Now talk about working with Tony Hawk to bring this thing back into modern day a little bit. Who gets to make that call? Who gets to tell Tony Hawk, we're back at it?
I don't know. I'm glad they did, for sure. That's awesome. But I mean, he's an awesome collaborator. He's great to work with. He's takes this being kind of the lexicon for skating very seriously. So he plays the game frequently, and he will often tell us, hey, I think this trick name is now called something else. And let me check with some people, and he will make sure that the trick list, which has been updated from 1+2, represents really the language, the verbiage that skaters are using today.
Yeah. Another thing that you're going to be adding to this experience that's new from what we've seen before, we got a brand new level in the water park level. Can you talk a little bit about how to design a Tony Hawk level from the ground up in a modern context? Do you approach it any differently than what you see in the level design from the earlier games?
I mean, well, first of all, obviously, it's a huge honor for us to be able to add, for the first time in over 10 years, 3 brand new parks into a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game.
Good. That's pretty good.
Huge deal. Huge deal. So the game is going to feature the water park, the movie studio, and the pinball park. And the pinball park is super exciting. It fits really in with that, the kind of park that Roswell or Area 51 and Skater Heaven, where only Tony Hawk games seem to can really take the skater into these fantastical places. So, when we come up with ideas for these parks, we think about the types of things that might be a forbidden place for a skater to go and skate, like a shutdown water park that really fulfills that skater fantasy, and also those fantastic places like a pinball, where the skater is actually the size of the pinball in the machine skating around. The ball will ping pong around everywhere and wipe you out, and if you look up, there's actually a giant Tony Hawk playing the pinball machine that you're in. And he'll react when you bail and cover his eyes. It's great.
That gives me Are You Afraid of the Dark vibes. There's an episode where they get trapped in a pinball machine and the ball's after them. I love that. Okay, so moving on to more about how we're modernizing here. Obviously, skate culture, incredibly important to these games. Can you talk about how modern skate culture is represented in Tony Hawk 3 and 4?
So the biggest way that I think these games have represented that is the pro skaters themselves, right? We have an amazing roster of pro skaters here, and they are the true representation of how the culture has evolved, right? It's worldwide now. It's international. We've got skaters from the Philippines and Japan and Brazil and America, right? So I think the roster and really the diversity in that roster is the main thing that represents how skate culture has advanced.
And I have to imagine that these skaters have very specific ideas of how they should be represented in this game, having grown up playing it. Is that the case?
Most of the skaters absolutely have played these games in the past. I think probably all of them. Working with Activision on getting these skaters in the game has been a great experience. They get the full body scan. So, I hope they like how they look. That's how they look in real life, man. We did the whole scan. That's, the cameras don't lie.
No.
But everyone seems very happy with how they are. And they do work with us pretty closely on the special tricks. So, one of the cool things that I have forever is I have like emails of me corresponding with Yuto Horigome on his special trick and how he wants it to look in the game. So we have the opportunity to do like once in a lifetime things like that. That's great.
And it's going to stand testament to those skaters forever, which is so cool. You've also got the Foundry demo, which I think is live now. Is that correct?
Foundry demo is live now. Go check it out.
Yeah. Well, don't leave IGN Live yet. We got a little more to go. Check it out after it's done. Thank you so much for coming, Kurt. I do have one last question for you here, which is, I think Tony Hawk fans all know how to count, right? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, underground, right? That's, yeah. Now, just out of curiosity, we know we're still waiting for 3 and 4 to come out the door here, but I have to imagine, have there been any conversations around the Iron Galaxy offices as to what an underground remake might look like?
Boy, I mean, we're focused on shipping this. I'm getting text messages right now for people working on the game right now. So we want to ship this game. We can't wait to get 3 and 4 out to the audience. Beyond that, we would absolutely love to keep working on this. Absolutely.
I love to hear that. Well, we'd love to see it. You can check out Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 when it hits all modern Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo consoles, as well as PC on July 11th. There is more IGN Live coming up right after this. Do not go anywhere.